As we begin February 2025, we've witnessed much larger volatility within the stock market and cryptocurrency, making investors panic that the stock market will continue to fall during 2025. 2024 was a great year to purchase and trim AI stocks, and I believe 2025 will be the same, although there will be a lot more volatility this year, mainly due to a new US president causing chaos within the markets. Welcome to my channel where you can watch my AI stocks, cryptocurrency, wealth building investment strategies and how I use these to beat inflation. At the end of the video, I'll give my thoughts on how I intend to take advantage of any investment opportunities this month. On Monday the 28th of January, AI stocks dropped heavily as the internet and financial media was talking about how China's DeepSeek AI large language model will damage the future earnings of all American AI stocks, due to its apparently more efficient hardware and power requirements. Whereas everyone was focused on this, I was focused on the Japanese interest rate increase on the previous Friday, the 24th of January, from 0.25 to 0.5%, which was a 100% increase. This, as it was in August 2024, would have an impact on stocks, due to the way investors borrow the yen currency cheaply to purchase stocks. Thus, I took this as an opportunity to load up on more AI stocks during this fear, which I'll discuss how I did this later on in the video. It is looking likely that more of these shocks to the market during 2025 will be happening as we reach the end of the bull market in the next 12 months or so. It is important to have focus during this period and not be distracted. In January, we saw Trump return as president for his second term. This will benefit the elite within America as they'll see greater wealth and power concentrated into their own hands. Even governments around the world will be falling over each other to throw money at AI, which is not going to benefit the people, only accelerate the transfer of power and wealth to the elite. Even Trump launched a meme coin that shot up from zero market capitalization to over 80 billion. If that wasn't enough, the next day his wife launched her own meme coin by rushing to purchase the domain name, creating the site and launch, all before the inauguration, which immediately popped the Trump coin bubble. Of course, I believe that Trump's team had been insider trading by selling the meme coin they purchased before the launch. This will be his primary objective, to rake in billions before the end of his term. Trump plans to issue tariffs on foreign goods in a bid to make America great again, even though America is great already and its power and wealth is growing much faster than any other country. Tariffs sound like a good idea. However, all the foreign goods and services being bought with US dollars, which creates demand to hold US dollars. Tariffs means less demand for goods and services, which means higher prices for everyone. What creates demand for dollars is trade. The more the dollar is used, the more demand there is. But these tariffs will reduce this demand and thus the value of the dollar will fall and introduce higher inflation, pouring fuel on a decade-long waves of inflation. US inflation is starting to pick up, even before the Fed money printer begins again, as they have no choice as the budget deficit looks set to end 2025 at well over $2 trillion. We're in for a volatile first few months of the Trump presidency, with multiple stock market shocks, which any one could send the stocks sharply lower. By which I mean temporary sharply lower, as the market is still in a bull market, and it's essential to keep maintaining exposure despite all the fear from finance media companies. Some of these AI stocks have experienced bad news, which is great for me, as it means I get to buy them at discount prices, even in a bull market, using my unique take on dollar cost averaging strategy to accumulate positions. By using my buy targets and the company's earning potential as a guide to which AI stock looks great value, it has given me the opportunity to purchase great AI stocks, such as Nvidia for as little as $92. My primary focus is accumulating great AI stocks during any corrections, and later in the video I'll show you which AI stocks I've been able to purchase during the last month. This is why I do not read or watch any financial media press or TV channels, as they always advise the incorrect strategy for the financial markets. Their primary focus is to sell fear and panic, so to maximize their own exposure and profits. We're still in a bull market and the risks are still to the upside, which I expect this bull market to continue during 2025. So deep drops in AI stocks prices should be temporary as they eventually look to target new bull market highs. My view for 2025 is the inauguration of a new US president will drive the S&P index higher into February before a correction into March-April, removing most of the gains of 2025, which will have people believe that the bull market is over. 2025 is going to be a very volatile year. However, I think then it will move higher towards August-September to around 7,000 points before correcting again into October-November. This should lead to a final surge above 7,100 to complete the year 2025. I'm expecting all the fear-mongering during the corrections to say the recession is imminent, but I believe 100% that there won't be a recession during 2025. I'm more concerned about 2026 and 2027, as these years are looking highly likely for a major recession. Closer to the end of 2025, I should know more what the trend and the recession expectations will be for 2026. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. This is purely what I intend to do. During 2024, AI stocks broke out to trade to overvalued levels, which since then have entered a period of consolidation as they've unwound their overvalued states before the next breakout higher. As I'm aware of this behaviour, I tend to trim the AI stocks that become overvalued, for there are only two ways a stock valuation can improve. The stock price falls, or the earnings play catch up while the stock price consolidates in the trading range. Next, I will give a brief comment on why I have and continue to invest in the following AI stocks. After this, I'll show you my buying targets of these AI stocks, what my average price paid and my asset exposure. Before I intend to make any asset purchase, I determine firstly how much risk or exposure I wish to have. This aids my unique take on dollar cost averaging by having an investment price target for each stock I wish to accumulate into. To learn more about this, watch my video Wealth Building Dollar Cost Averaging. My investment portfolio stands at 94% invested with 6% left in cash ready for any investment opportunities. Nvidia, the best AI stock in my portfolio. Nvidia is AI. It is rare for it to drop to give any opportunity to buy. I've been lucky to have opportunities this year to purchase some more at a discount price from its all-time high. This on top of the times I had during 2024. As I mentioned in my October and November update, I expect Nvidia to reach over $240 by the end of 2025. Therefore, I'll be careful of over-trimming Nvidia, as this stock does not give many corrections to build a great position in. Since September 2024, Google has begun to trend higher from $150 to a high of $202, an increase of 33% within 4 months. Its price to earnings looked cheap against other AI stocks. Any drop towards $166, I would purchase some more. Over 2024, the financial media have been talking down Google, which has affected the share price as investors have been fearful of purchasing this stock. This has now started to change with announcements in its quantum AI developments, which is an important milestone on the road to quantum AI before the end of this decade. It is a steady AI stock, not volatile like AMD or Nvidia. Thus, I am unlikely to be trimming my exposure. AMD is in a race with Nvidia and Intel to release new AI chips to power AI end-user computers. However, AMD is not superior to Nvidia. The only reason to buy AMD processors is because they are a lot better than Intel. Whereas AMD's earnings have been good, they were not good enough to justify the rally during 2024 to over $220, which I took full advantage of by trimming down my exposure. During the last couple of months, AMD has dropped below my buy target of $126, and I've been using my unique take on dollar cost averaging to build a bigger position, taking my exposure to over 100%. AMD seems to be in a trading range between $120 and $180. Any rise towards $180 will give me an opportunity to trim my exposure to below 100%. Microsoft has still been the hardest to accumulate into. It doesn't seem to give much of a buying opportunity. It's a steady as you go stock that consistently delivers earnings growth. Its cloud computing is bringing in strong revenue and earnings growth. With the latest volatility in the stock market, I've been able to purchase some of this stock for around $415. The stock price has dropped since its high of $468, which I believe by the end of 2025 it will surpass this towards $500. Since November 2022, Meta has had a spectacular bull run and refuses to drop despite being overextended. The reason for this can be seen in its high earnings growth. It consistently tends to beat earnings estimates. Thus, it is unlikely to deliver any buying opportunity as Meta, like Nvidia, is AI. Every time Meta looks as though it's going to drop, it reverts higher to above $600. Thus, it's one of the best AI tech stocks that I have invested in. I have trimmed my Meta stock after buying large purchases during the drop in November 2022 and look to accumulate a gain on any signs of weakness. Though its earnings growth is still great, so this opportunity might not arise as this stock will probably reach $800 this year. During 2024, I've made huge profits with Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, having purchased the stock for an average price of $138. I was able to trim my exposure and then purchase the stock whenever it dropped, every time building my position and taking greater profits. You don't get that kind of return investing in index-only funds. AI computer chip demand is still strong and accelerating, so exposure to semiconductor companies like this is key to my investment strategy. This company has had excellent revenue and earnings, which are growing at the rate of 20% per year, which should last the next 5 years. This future growth should mean any drop in the stock price towards my buy target will be temporary, and I aim to take full advantage by building up my position again. I accumulated this stock all throughout 2023 for under $100 and then trimmed heavily as it reached towards an all-time high of $230 in 2024. I have been repurchasing the stock during August and November as it hit $160 and below, and then again during January 2025. It is looking fair price now, and its earnings growth suggests any correction in this stock will be temporary. I'm using any dip below $162 as an opportunity to accumulate more. Since the US election, Tesla has rose more than 70%. After purchasing this AI stock throughout 2024, with some purchases as low as $141, I trimmed at $285, $330, $400 and $460. I do think the stock is extremely overvalued and will correct down sharply to below $250, probably end up below $200, which will give me an opportunity to start accumulating again. The earnings look great, however the price to earnings are overvalued, thus a lot of growth is already within the price. Tesla is ready for a drop regardless of what the earnings say. My long-term view is still that I expect Tesla stock over the next 10 years to increase at least 10 times from $141. Tesla is a high-risk AI stock which can be volatile. This, timed correctly, can give an opportunity to build a bigger position. During 2024, ASML has dropped from its all-time high of $1,100 down to a low of $645. I do find this a great AI stock to accumulate and then trim, building bigger positions each time. In my October market report, I thought there would be a more chance of a downside surprise to this stock to present some buying opportunities, and I got this. Since its earnings report in October, the stock price has dropped below my buy target, and I'm using my unique take on dollar cost averaging to build a position within this stock, as I believe by the end of 2025 it will trend to an all-time high. With my January market update, I expected it to have good reaction to the earnings report at the end of January, which it did, surging above $750, and it looks on course to head above $800. Over the course of 2024, Micron soared to $156, and a recent correction taking it down below $90. This stock is volatile, in which I look to capitalize on. Its share price did recover, but as I predicted in my November update, it is given opportunities to gain to accumulate below $90, which I've taken full advantage of to increase my exposure. Micron's earnings are being affected by the AI chip demand, therefore the stock price should move higher. Maybe not above $150 anytime soon, though the earnings growth does look good for 2025. This table shows my buy target for each AI stock, what my current average purchase price has been for the stock, and what my current exposure is of the asset. It's a balancing act between having exposure and overpaying for an AI stock. The easiest thing to do would be just invest and forget. I can't do that for stocks such as AMD. It is too volatile not to try and capitalize on it, which is why I buy in and out of AMD depending on what the stock price does, whilst building a core position, as I believe, regardless of what stock prices do, the AI megatrend is going to run for decades. During November 2024, Bitcoin finally ended its over 6 months consolidation range and broke higher to new all-time highs. People that I've spoken to have talked themselves into selling their Bitcoin as they believed that the trend was reversing and Bitcoin would drop to $52,000 or even lower. Another reason why you need to have focus when building wealth. Otherwise you'll get distracted by this talk and sell your positions before the big moves happen. My October and November chart view of Bitcoin was the trend towards $90,000, which it achieved this to around $99,000. I expected it to correct towards $75,000, which it has dropped to a support level of $92,000. In my January update, I believed we would get a fresh Bitcoin high, which we did, to around $109,000. I believe there will be another high during April and then a final high towards the end of 2025. However, I still believe that cryptocurrency is nothing more than a gamble, so my strategy will be to sell 70% of my Bitcoin during the high of April, which I'm expecting Bitcoin to reach over $120,000, and wait and see what the rest of the year brings. This will enable me to be more focused as most of the profits will be banked, and if Bitcoin moves towards 150 or 200,000, I'll still have some Bitcoin left that I bought back at the end of 2023 for an average price of $37,000. With the Bitcoin bull market coming into its final year, I'm already preparing myself for the next cryptocurrency bear market. This strategy is still in progress, but I plan to begin small purchases at 60% below the all-time high, accumulating more as it drops, as the bear market is likely to last a year. At this moment, I'm not 100% sure if Bitcoin will drop 80% of its all-time high due to the ETF Bitcoin funds. And lastly, do not forget that we're in a bull market that has at least another year to run, which means when AI stocks fall, it's time to get greedy, not fearful. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more tips on how I use AI stocks and cryptocurrency to build my wealth and beat inflation. Until next time, take care.